corruptly used American foreign policy as leverage to enrich his family. I mean, that's the accusation that's emerged this week.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. Remember, if for an American audience, Joe Biden has been adamant on the Burisma in the Ukraine. He did nothing. He'd never talked to his son. He didn't know anything about it. The stunning thing about these emails, and then actually the Biden camp admitting something, this is very important. The thing is about these emails is that Biden has basically said to the American people, I knew nothing about it. Now we actually see with the meeting set up. At first, what they came and had the mainstream media spin is that there's nothing in his official records to show this. They've actually copped to the fact of, well, maybe he had a cup of coffee or maybe it was an informal meeting. So this is going to be, that sets the predicate that Joe Biden has lied consistently over the last couple of years to the American people. He lied on the debate stage with President Trump. What the Fox did, which was very interesting on that issue, but also on the Chinese, they actually went to the people on the emails and contacted them. What was so stunning is that they reported last night that one of the guys on the email said, absolutely, the meetings happened. This is not off of some Russia intelligence operation. That email's correct. The meeting's correct. And by the way, the 10% of the equity is Joe Biden. So you're starting to see other people come in here and validate this. It's pretty stunning. For the Australian audience, just remember one thing. Joe Biden for years has sat there categorically. My family has not participated in China or has any relationships with anything in China. That's all lies, all discredited. He has said the Burisma thing is all a lie. I don't know anything about it. He stood on a debate stage and spent 3 minutes fighting with President Trump and said it again. So the predicate's been set. Joe Biden's a liar, a stone cold liar. That's what these emails and this other information that's coming out right now show.
He said they were only aware of 2 individuals who raised concerns about the Hunter Biden link in Ukraine to their superiors. Despite the efforts of these individuals, their concerns appear to have fallen on deaf ears, the investigation said. That same year, Ukraine's top prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, had an active investigation into Burisma and its owner, while Hunter Biden and Devon Archer sat on the company's board. Vice President Joe Biden threatened to withhold $1 billion in US loan guarantees if Ukraine's leaders did not dismiss Viktor Shokin, according to the Senate investigation. After that threat, Ukraine's parliament fired Viktor Shokin, a dismissal which took place in late March.
Joe Biden's on tape bragging that he leveraged $1 billion tax dollars to get a prosecutor that was investigating Hunter Biden fired, and son of a bee, they did it. True or false?
That is true.
I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
Now, Joe Biden and his allies have maintained his intervention prompting the firing of Viktor Shokin was related to the corruption in the country and the prosecutor's office. Despite publishing 87 pages of background into the Biden family, the Senate report warned its investigation had been hampered by, quote, criminal investigations, impeachment proceedings, COVID-19, and several instances of obstructive behaviour, leaving plenty of work left to do. Accordingly, there remains much work to be done, the Senate investigation said. These documents show that Hunter Biden received millions of dollars from foreign sources as a result of business relationships that he built during the period when his father was Vice President of the United States of America. The extent to which Hunter Biden's role on Burisma's board affecting US policy towards Ukraine is not clear. This is a good government oversight investigation that relies on documents and testimonies from US agencies and officials, not a Russian disinformation campaign, as our Democratic colleagues have falsely stated.
That this information Rudy Giuliani is peddling very well could be connected to some sort of Russian government disinformation campaign?
Well, we know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin. That's been clear for well over a year now.
In the country, other than the president of the United States, so you can tell us what's real and what's fake. Is this Russian disinformation, Director?
So, Maria, it's funny that some of the people that complain the most about intelligence being politicized are the ones politicizing intelligence. And unfortunately, in this case, it is Adam Schiff, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, who, as you pointed out on Friday.
Have you ever thought about carrying a handgun for your family's safety? In today's world, unpredictability seems to be the only constant.
Weeks after the US presidential election, as the dust begins to finally settle on one of the most contested battles for the White House, Americans are beginning to hear allegations about possible corruption involving Hunter Biden, which implicate his father, but which had been previously suppressed by social media giants and many in the media. While Facebook and Twitter censored stories critical of Joe Biden's son in the lead-up to the election, they were ignored or downplayed in the news, which justified the stance by arguing it's Russian disinformation. And the Department of Justice remained silent. In this special report, Sky News dives into the new details emerging about Hunter Biden, including a new link between his business dealings and his father, and the inaction by many in the media that may have been the ultimate form of election interference.
To make the brew beer in this final. Oh, Earth Rider, thanks for the Great Lakes.
I'm sure this next clip will be more coherent and not filled with verifiable lies.
Donald Trump, when he was commander-in-chief, refused to visit a cemetery, U.S. cemetery outside of Paris for fallen American soldiers. And he referred to those heroes, and I quote, as suckers and losers. He actually said that. He said that. How dare he say that? How dare he talk about my son and all of us like that?
No, he actually didn't say that, you enormous liar. But you're watching him these days, you wonder if he even knows he's lying.
Hello, Virginia. And the real governor, Terry McAuliffe.
The real governor? Oh dear me, we can't have that. But I think you're all wanting to know right now, what about the price of Snickers? Yes, Snickers.
Greedflation, shrinkflation. You see that article about the Snickers bars? Well, it's going to stop. America, we're tired of being played for suckers.
I have no idea what's happening either.
So you're right, we have a lot of accomplishments, and I think what the American people want most in their leaders is that we actually get things done, and we have done it. We haven't taken adequate credit for it, frankly, and we got to do a better job of getting the word out about what we have accomplished and who did it.
And Joe Biden's campaign co-chair Jim Clyburn isn't making much sense either.
And what did he do? He created what we call the little sort of, that act. A lot of people wonder what it's about. To repair what was wrong.
Now here's an anti-lefty losing it, a young man schooling a leftist fool.
All the Black, Indigenous, and people of color, your ancestors were scholars.
All I know is this: my father was never involved in any of my business, ever. Never received a cent from anybody or never benefited in any way. Never took any actions on behalf in any way. Well, that settles it then. Call off the impeachment. Let's just take the word of the guy who lied to the government at least once before on a federal gun form over all the other evidence, including emails, business partners, text messages, what have you. Nope, we're good. Hunter said it didn't happen. We can all go home. Now, despite his testimony, he all but confirmed that Joe Biden is the big guy. Hunter was directly asked, but to the reference to the big guy, would you agree it is a reference to your father, point blank? To which Hunter responded saying, quote, I truly don't know what the hell James, the guy who previously testified, his business partner obviously, was talking about. All I know is what actually happened. All I know is that what was executed in the agreement, and the agreement didn't have anything to do with my father. My father's never been involved in my business. He's never benefited from my business. He's never taken any action in to benefit me or any of my businesses. Well, of course that they didn't put that in writing. I mean, he did put the 10% for the big guy in an email. But Hamas was a buyer of Hunter's art. You think that's a coincidence? I mean, maybe, I guess, but probably not. Like what is Hunter doing now? Like, how does he afford this lifestyle? How does he do all the things he does? He doesn't work anywhere specifically. Has the Biden syndicate stopped doing all these types of business deals in light of all these investigations? I mean, you'd hope so. Or did they go deeper underground? This is all stuff Congress should be looking into.
Speaker Johnson has accused you of lying repeatedly about your interactions with your son and brother's business partners. What's your response to him?
Don't read the record of every single witness. These guys got to stop this.
But you did interact with their partners.
I did not interact with their partners.
You didn't have dinner or lunch?
Mr. President, so you think there may never be a ceasefire negotiation?
I'm still hoping for it. You know, it's not over till it's over.
What do you want to happen in negotiations?
Well, there has to be an agreement on the timing, and they're still far apart.
We continue to see this Biden administration completely give away our country. Whether or not that's through small things like the SBA programs that we're now having to force through legislation, a bill that I'm very happy is going to be hopefully on the floor for a vote this week, that we can actually have whistleblowers have an ease of way on the SBA's website to talk about the $200 million that we've given away to fraudsters, to people from other countries who are taking advantage of our country, of our bills, of a weak administration. We continue to see this, but nowhere do you see it clearer than what's happening at our border today. You want to talk about giving away our country. From day one, this president had all of the tools on his desk to be able to maintain our secure border. And what did he do from day one? Immediately, he stopped work on the border wall. Immediately, he started directing HMS, instead of actually having Homeland Security do its job, no, they became cab drivers. The border became a bus stop where people could come illegally, get picked up, and be brought to a plane or a bus to be shipped to other places around our country. Mr. President, you're down at the border now for a photo op. Your policies have led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans. How many more Laken Rileys are we going to have? Laken Riley, a 22-year-old nursing student who was murdered by a Venezuelan illegal immigrant who should never have been in this country. Laken Riley's middle name, by the way, was Hope. You've taken away her hope, you've taken away her family's hope, and you're down there right now for a photo op. Your policies that you took off the table, such as the Remain in Mexico, where that Venezuelan would never have been allowed in the country because he would have been stopped at the border and sent back to the first safe country or remained in Mexico until his asylum claim was filed. You took away the rights of Immigration and Customs Enforcement to be able to get rid of criminal illegal aliens that were committing crimes within our country. What did you put in its place? Catch and release. Catch and release was great because what that did was it allowed everybody in. Over 10 million illegal immigrants have come into our country since you've been in office. Thousands of pounds of fentanyl have been allowed to enter into our country, killing over 110,000 Americans, 5 Texans each day. You have the power to be able to stop it now. You have the ability, the policies that were there when you got into office to be able to stop this problem, and you haven't done it. Instead, you were down on our border for a photo op. Mr. President, how many more daughters, how many more sons, how many more children, how many more of us will you have to kill before you will take this seriously? Unless you are willing to get down on the border and tell Laken Riley's family, I am sorry, this is my responsibility, and I'm going to fix it now. You have no business being president. Our country deserves better. And hopefully in November, we will get it. Thank you.